What's up, guys? Brent here. First off, I'll show you my new hat. I know it's a Tampa Bay hat. Here's my situation. I'll always have Philly love first. Always. But I love baseball. I'm in Tampa. And I want to go to some games. So, the Rays are going to be my American League team. Uh, and Phillies will always be number one and my National League team. So there you have it. But it's my new Rays hat. But this video is not about my hat. This video is actually in response to a post that somebody made in a group, in a trans guys group that I am in on Facebook. And I was going to respond to it, but I thought it would be better to respond to it in video. And he actually works with a lot of people in the gay community, I guess. I'm trying to read his comment. He says it's a big lesbian travel company, and he wanted to educate people on the subject. So he wanted to share this video with his coworkers. So I'm going to answer the questions, and I apologize for the minute and 15 seconds that I've rambled about something else. I can't edit this, unfortunately, but I'll read his question, or his whole, everything he said here, and then I'll discuss it with you, my thoughts on it. He said that this is just based on his experience and background, and he came out as a lesbian when he was 14, so he's always been surrounded by, since he was 14, I would assume, and professionally, he's always been surrounded by the lesbian community. And he says, as I was born female-bodied and I liked women, I therefore took on the label of being a lesbian. I mean, I was a girl who liked girls. Now, he realizes it wasn't that simple. He's always felt different. And he says it wasn't until a decade later, after coming out as transgendered, that I realized how the lesbian label didn't necessarily fit me. But I grew up in a community, and it's all I've ever known. I still feel a closeness and connection to the lesbian community, although I do not identify as such. At this point in my life, I still feel the lesbian/woman's community to be somewhat my community. So basically, he came out as a lesbian, thought he was a lesbian because he was into girls, and he was born female, which is very similar to me. In my story, which you probably know, but I'll go into that. And and now he still feels a closeness to the community, but he doesn't really label or connect with that community, rather. So he feels a closeness and connection, but he doesn't identify as lesbian. I assume he identifies as a straight male. I'm not sure, but basically it's because gender and sexuality are different. So he's got some questions here, and he says, were you at one point part of the woman/lesbian community? So I will answer that, and then he goes on to ask, do you feel a close connection to those communities? Do you still feel a close connection to those communities, even after transitioning? And if so, please explain your reasons and why. So I'll tackle that first. I, as you may know, if you've been watching my videos, I did same thing. I was born female, and I knew at a very young age that something was wrong. For me personally, I never knew that I was trans. I never at one point was like, oh, I'm a boy. I knew that I was different. I knew that I didn't feel like a girl, but I knew that I liked girls, and I knew that I was born into a female body. So, like this guy at right around the same age, actually, 13, 14, I kind of labeled myself as a lesbian. Now, in high school, I wasn't really part of a strong community back then because I didn't really know anybody at my high school. And, you know, a couple people when I went out, but I didn't really go out much. I didn't even start driving. I didn't have a car till I was 18, so I wasn't driving around. I wasn't going out much. So I wouldn't say I had a big community then, but after I got out in like my 20s, when I started on my own, my early 20s, I would definitely say I developed a big community. When I moved to Florida, for sure, pretty much everyone I knew when I met here was in the gay community. It was just, you know, you felt like family, you were friends, went to the clubs. I still go to the clubs, the gay clubs. I identify as male, I identify as a straight male. Obviously, I identify as male. Well, maybe not so obvious, but I do, and I identify as a straight male. And I do still go to the clubs, but I wouldn't say I still feel a connection. Like, I still go to Pride. I really enjoy drag shows. I enjoy entertainment, period, live entertainment. Love live music. I prefer live music over a bar any day. But that's not usually what happens. Um, but yeah, like I almost feel uncomfortable around, like, I'm trying to make a lot of more straight friends now, because I do feel, I mean, just people with my interests. They don't have to be straight, but back then I was a community, like, you're gay, I'm gay, like, our interests are going to gay events, so, and we get along. We have good conversations or whatever, but hopefully I can edit this video too, because I'm all over the place, I feel like. Uh, but I don't feel a connection to the community as a whole. I don't know if I ever really did feel a connection. Um, I definitely now, like, I'm an athlete. I play baseball. I enjoy working out. I love to play sports. That's what I really want to do. Like, throw football around, throw baseball around, play some basketball, whatever. That's more fun to me than anything else. But I don't really have too many friends who are interested in that. But I'm getting there. I'm making more and more friends who are. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I really answered that question too well. I apologize, but that's kind of how I feel. Basically, I guess I don't really feel a connection to the community, but I do. I am still involved in it. It's not that I feel uncomfortable. I could go to the gay bar because there's a lot of bi men and women and straight men and women who go to the gay club. I actually have two straight friends who are engaged who met at the gay club, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, so that's just how the clubs are here. So, and I go to Pride. Like, I still support. I definitely support my community. I give back to my community. I like to go to a lot of trans events. I probably like support the trans community more. I mean, not more than the lesbian and gay community, but because that's me personally. I give back to that a lot more, I guess, like financially and time wise and all that. But I definitely still support the gay community. I definitely still advocate for the gay community. I still educate. I'm not afraid. Like, you can make your judgment on me. I don't care. I mean, I guess I would care. I'm human. Like, if we're close or whatever, maybe it would bother me a little, but just like temporarily, because I don't. If you're gonna make a bad judgment on me, I don't really want you in my life, kind of thing. And it is what it is. People judge. That's the world we live in. So I try not to let that bother me, and I'd rather put myself out there if it's appropriate. It's not always appropriate, but put it out there and educate and whatever, and think whatever you want to think of me. Um, so then he says, yes, I'm a guy. Okay, so do you still feel a close connection to those communities even after transitioning? If so, please explain your reasons and why. Yes, I'm a guy. Yes, gender and sexuality are different. However, I find that many trans men I know once identified as lesbian and still, like me, feel a connection to the lesbian/women's community. What are your thoughts? And then he goes on to say, I'm not assuming everyone was once a lesbian or identified as such, and I respect everyone's identity. There's far more to this. I'm just interested in knowing your experiences. So yeah, I guess that's it for my experience. Still part of the community, I guess, in the sense that, well, I don't know. I guess I don't feel part of the community, honestly. Like, I go to events, but I don't identify as trans either. I identify as just a straight male. I accept that I'm trans. That is reality. That is a blessing. I have been able to look at life through two different sets of eyes. I've really learned a lot and really grown into the man I am today. I think through transition, I don't know how much would be the same. My life would be so different had I not been trans, because I had a lot of experiences pre-transitioning that were really, I think, related to me being trans more than anything else. In my family, I feel very different from my family. I think we have very opposite views about a lot of things. And I think most of my views are because of the situations I was in growing up. So had I been born male, I think I would be a different person. So I'm blessed to have those experiences who's made me who I am, and grown my soul into the man that I am, and still growing into the man I wish to be. But I guess I don't connect with the gay community now. I do almost feel uncomfortable at events like Pride. Not like too uncomfortable, but it's just weird for me. It's not my thing to begin with. And it's just, I just don't identify, so I don't really feel part of the community now, no, to answer the question. But I'm not sure if I ever really did. I hung out and I still hang out, so I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I guess I did. I guess I never really identified as the straight community, and now I probably definitely identify with the straight community. But I'm definitely an advocate, definitely, and I will always be an advocate. And that's never going to change. And I would not hang around people who had hate um, towards the gay community. If they had ignorance, that's one thing. I would take the time to educate them, but definitely not hate. Although I don't like to hang around people who have hate in general. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. I'm sorry that was a bit of a ramble. I didn't really plan what I was going to say or how I was going to go about saying this, but yeah. All right, I will see you when I see you.